Let's drip it with a performance video.
Nice. This was good because the song was good, and actually one of the few music videos they had where you can actually see the choreo quite well.
Yeah, it had sections. However, I love when we get to watch performance videos because the focus is all about the dance, which you don't really get to experience fully on the music videos because it's all about everything else.
Let's use Waleska's dance brain and dance background into sort of understanding this.
Let us go.
Drip dance performance.
It's usually quite commercial and, it's all about the formations, but we'll see.
Also, this is cool to see as well who shines sort of just naturally as dancers.
Number one favorite. Freaking love Chiquita in the front.
She opens a lot of tracks in the whole album.
Because she is such a great impact.
Whoa, we were very low-key here.
Well, do you know what? I actually like that because that allows Ahyeon to actually focus on other things like her vocal range and whatever.
Agreed.
Which is nice because if you see it in the performance video, then on stage it's not going to be that much of a drop. People aren't going to be like, oh, but she's not even trying.
Well, and you do have talented dancers there like Asa, Ruka, like even though they're rappers, they actually dance very well. And Rami time.
Yes, she's such a freaking spotlight.
But Chiquita's very natural presence.
Like she's a very good spotlight, like a spotlight member. Like wherever she is on stage, you always naturally gravitate towards her.
Immense presence for her as well. Unbelievable.
Big.
The main vocal line, Ruka and
Ruka and Asa. Here's the thing, though.
Asa is actually how she pronounces it, right?
I think it was right. I love the fact that this choreo is actually quite low key in comparison to other things that you're seeing in the industry at the moment. A lot of comebacks are very big on huge movements and a lot of busy situation, and you see everybody dancing to 100% of their capability. However, though, there is a brand new edge to the things that we're seeing right now, where you see the dancers kind of like settle for style rather than for energy and impact.
Yeah, well, you want them,
which is really stylized in this.
You want them to be immensely stylized because this is how it's going to look when they are performing live.
Correct.
It's amazing. Like, I guess the argument would be, well, it's a performance video; they should be going 1,000%. It's like, sure, that's like a fair point, but I also feel like you're never gonna get to see that. And if you do get to see that live, then that means there's something going on with the vocals.
Correct.
And if you are seeing this, this is the most accurate representation of actually the ticketed experience.
I love that.
It's going to be like. So very, very smart.
Very
I like
realistic perspectives.
Yeah. Yeah, it's also.
Yeah, look, it's just such a freaking visual.
This three, for Rita as well, it's like, I like this sort of combo. And I mean, obviously, so do they, because look, they utilize it quite frequently.
Yeah.
But quite impressive how charming Chiquita seems to be in front of the cameras.
I also feel like you can really see the fact that she really enjoys the lines and the performance. And
I agree.
That is so palpable.
See, so this type of stuff by Rami, it makes a ton of sense.
Yeah.
Why have to engage more the core? Why have to engage more hips movement or big ass movements that require more energy expenditure?
When the upper body, the upper body and the hands are doing most of the work.
Correct. Create the illusion. Correct. Be heavy on the vocals. Be a heavy hitter there. Have Ahyeon rest for a sec because she has. We know what's coming.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, fabulous.
This is very good. What you say?
I love how this has been equalized. Like the way this song has been mixed is so tasty.
Yeah. It's a very good visual cast.
Oh, she always absolutely the absolute drip. Not to make a pun, but the style in each member is so cool.
She looks very good in blue. Unbelievable.
I think it's because of the hair as well.
And not many girls can pull the short hair, but she does it very well.
She looks good. Oh, dreamy.
Okay, here we go, everybody. Yeah, nice, great. An illusion.
An illusion, yeah,
you know,
very good set.
Good.
Yeah, fabulous. That's really good. Great transition. Obviously, there's nothing that happens by chance when it comes to choreographing to title tracks in YG. It never is a happy accident. There's a lot of thought that goes behind things, and obviously, but I feel like the premeditation. Maybe it's the shoes as well. But the premeditating aspect of this choreo, it's so palpable though. It's more about the style. It's more about like the attitude and what different flavors each member is kind of bringing to the table. I like that because the individuality kind of in groups with this amount of members, it takes a few years to kind of settle in. However, with BABYMONSTER, you're getting that individuality performing wise really early on.
Yeah, agreed.
Which is so satisfying to see.
It's also quite obvious as well, like certain members seem to sort of create a ton of infectious energy to other members as well, you know? So it's interesting as well when you have like, because they may not be the leaders per se, but in that specific scene, in that specific shot, they carry their weight very well, which allows other people to then do what they're meant to as well. And it's quite impressive, you know, here in this aspect of things, I guess, if you're a fan, and especially in an upcoming group like BABYMONSTER, what you're trying to look for is like, well, which member is sort of the weakest link at the moment, because you want to see the evolution per se. This used to happen in second generation K-pop quite often. People had, you know, oh my god, he's obviously the weakest dancer, or she's the weakest dancer, and then they seem to evolve, and then you're like, oh my god, this is amazing.
However, that doesn't happen here.
It does not seem to, BABYMONSTER does not seem to have that issue. It doesn't seem to have that issue vocally as well, where they like, well, they're very obviously trying to hide this, or this member to not sing these specific phrases. But I like this whole concept of, fuck it, let's just create full rounders, all-rounders, and also all-rounder visuals. If you've been in K-pop in quite a while, or if you've studied K-pop for a while, which I guess is what we've done, because we haven't been in K-pop for 10 years, but we've had to study it back 25 years ago. So what you noticed then was that actually becoming a visual was good enough, and that may mean that you were either a weak dancer or a weak singer. But now BABYMONSTER may be one of the first where actually you basically had to pass those auditions with full marks in most things, if not in all things. So very intriguing to see them. This is the new generation, and this is why I think the market sets the demand. Probably people were tired of, I do want to see the girls sing this in the studio and live. Correct. I do want to get my money's worth. And I don't want to have to be like, oh, there's a weak dancer in the group, or there's a weak singer in the group. So
there is something really exciting about this group, and I think
curious.
It is interesting to continue to follow their journey so closely.
Correct.
Let us know what your favorite member in this particular performance video was.
I think the standout for us would be Chiquita.
Definitely devoured her section.
It seems in the comments that people are sort of commenting regarding Ahyeon's performance. It did seem quite low-key.
I think it's very measured. Well thought through.
It could be for different reasons. One, there could be an injury at play here before this. Two, fatigue is genuinely a big thing. They're promoting and they're recording more music videos than usual. Or number three, which I think is my...
it's very purposeful.
I think this is probably made on purpose. Yeah, perhaps she's been told to, you know, have a bit more attitude, mate. Look a bit more, you know, like you fucking... Maybe make it look like you're actually half marking. Yeah. Great, but you also have to understand that
you have an incredibly difficult section.
She has. I'm looking forward to reviewing this thing live because, as you guys say, there's no point in sugarcoating this stuff. When you've made it clear that I'm actually supporting the guy, I want the fucking girl to do well. I also think, out of fatigue, maybe she could be one of the most tired out of all the members currently, because I think she spent the longest time in studio recording.
Yep.
There's a reason why she was mixed so forward in the studio. I think she had one of the highest studio times.
Between Ahyeon and Rami, they're so forward, and they got so much work throughout the whole body of the album.
And all the heavy loading was done by them, essentially. If you
vocally speaking.
Arguably Chiquita as well. She opens a ton of tracks.
Yep.
Yeah.
There is a lot of work hours that have gone through these girls to this point. So I suppose, but like I said, I think the it's very purposeful. I don't think you're seeing members here or or the choreography a little flat, just because no, I think it was supposed to be that way.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, obviously, you don't want that to be commented about. So perhaps maybe a miscalibration, perhaps, or whatever. Maybe it wasn't perceived in the way that they thought it was going to be perceived.
I didn't think it was.
But if you look at if you look at Rora as well, Rora is utilized a lot of the time as like a big time visual. You know, same as sort of Ruka. So they would have a lot more, not studio time, but maybe more music shooting time than other members. So they should be fairly tired as well. I guess just room for what do you call it, discussion.
Conversation, yes.
But my presumption would be if she is tired, if the answer is fatigue, increase studio time hours, because she does have some of the hardest phrases, and injury could be possible as well. And maybe she's just pissed as well. That could be, because you could be pissed by having an injury. That's fair. Or three, I think
it's purposeful.
Yeah, this was done. Let's create this. A lot of the time. Do you remember how Jenny used to have that criticism a lot, especially earlier in their career, and then in the first world tour they did, there were some moments we actually experienced that live. There was either a ton of fatigue or maybe something had happened behind the scenes, and then they have to get fucked. But she had that criticism. Jenny had that criticism in the past, where he was like, "Oh, it seems like she doesn't even want to be there. She's pissed." And then, funnily enough, now that they've gone solo, one of the few members that have showed a lot more musical interest. So if she didn't really want to be there, then you wouldn't have gotten the Chico collab.
That's
you wouldn't
true.
have gotten the activity and stuff. Intriguing, but she did have that criticism, and I think. Again, we don't have tea on YG. We don't have inside information right now of BABYMONSTER. But it's very probable that that's also what they're looking for as well. Like,
creating a little
create a bit of
like,
disruption, it's just, I'm being
These
a bit...
are assumptions. They're really literal
Who knows?
assumptions.
It's just, they're quite hermetic with things. They're very calculated with things. They're very clinical cut. So it's hard to tell, but let us know your thoughts.
My perspective is, like I said earlier, this is
Premeditated.
calculated.
Yeah.
This is calculated.